Hey guys, welcome to Gregsbeerreviews today. You know what time it is? That's right. Let's go see what's in the fridge today. Hi everybody, thanks for stopping by Gregsbeerreviews today. Today's beer comes from Samuel Adams. This is their Imperial Series Imperial Stout. This one comes in at 9.2% ABV. I usually like just about everything that they do up there. It says Samuel Adams Imperial Stout is our take on the stouts brewed by 18th century English brewers for the Russian Imperial Court of Catherine the Second. The special malted barley in this intense and massive brew delivers rich flavors like dark chocolate, coffee, and anise. And this is from Jim Cook, the brewer and founder. I don't think I've ever had this beer before, not that I can recall. I've done a lot of Sam Adams beers when I first got into reviewing beers because it was one of my favorites. The Boston Lager was the one that got me into craft beers. So, like I said, I like just about 99% of everything that they do. So I hope this one doesn't disappoint me. So let's get on with this one, guys. The beer comes from the Boston Beer Company, which is known as Samuel Adams, and they're out of Massachusetts. Boston is a Russian Imperial Stout, 9.20 ABV. And it says the description is the same thing as written on the back of the bottle. Alright, this is a year-round beer that they do, and which is good for me. I like drinking these kind of beers all year long, not just in the wintertime when it's cold. I like drinking the stouts. I usually try to drink a porter or a stout for the final beer of the evening, so I enjoy them all year long, guys. And let's see, the glassware for this beer is going to be the pint glass, becker, the non-alcoholic tumbler, or the snifter. I've got the double glass today for this one, guys. That's what I like to pour these bigger beers, especially these stouts and the big porters and stuff in, because this glass enhances the aromas. The food pairing for this, since it is a stout, it always says chocolate or dessert type beer. You can have this with your stronger dishes or even after dinner. And the food pairing for this, like I said, it says chocolate and nothing else other than dessert and digestive. It doesn't give a cheese or a meat pairing with this. And it can be sold for long periods under the proper conditions. And most of their beers have a notched label telling you when it was done. This one does not. It doesn't have anything written on the label, which is unusual for their beers, because they usually have the month and date codes written up the side of the label, and it has notches when it was done. And this one doesn't, so I don't know if the Imperial Series doesn't have that, or if it's something digitized on the bottle which you cannot see when the beer is in there, which is kind of crazy as far as I'm concerned. If they're going to do that kind of digital printing, it ought to be in yellow or white when you can see it while the beer is still in the bottle. Because if you get it out of a cooler at a beer store, which a lot of them keep their beers in a cooler. A lot of them are up on the shelves where they stay room temperature. But a lot of them have them in the beer coolers, and you pull them out and they start sweating. You still can't see that date. So I'm kind of disappointed that they went away from that on this Imperial Series, not having the date codes notched on the side of the label. So I think they ought to go back to that. It's just my opinion, but I kind of want to know, even though it's a big beer, 9.2%, I kind of like to have the year that it was put in there, because I hate buying beers that's been sitting on the shelf for several years, even though it's an Imperial Stout and it's not going to go bad, but still like to have that information just for my ease. You know what I'm saying there. So, all right, guys, let's go back and see if there's anything else we need to talk about on this one. I don't think that there is. So let's get the cap off of this one and get it in the glass. And being a 9.2%, we're going to probably go right down the center. This looks like motor oil coming out of the bottle. And the head is a deep brown, chocolate covered. Chocolate covered? Chocolate colored. Very dark brown head. And it poured about a half a finger of head with that aggressive pour. So let's go over to the light. And I see absolutely none. Very reminiscent of what I think a stout should look like. Normally, I don't see any light whatsoever in the better stouts, and this is in that category. I don't see any light at all, even around the outside edges. It is very dark, pitch black. So, looks very good in the glass. The head is dissipating pretty quick. It almost looks like a dark brown yogurt on the top of it. It is very rich and creamy looking head, but it is dissipating very quickly. So let's get a nose on it, see what we can pick up. I'm getting chocolate. I'm getting some dark fruit, raisins, dates, or plums. Maybe just a hint of coffee. Not getting any alcohol on the nose for a 9.2% beer. Maybe be different on the taste, but on the nose I'm not getting it. Very sweet, rich caramel toffee malt. Smells very inviting and enticing on the nose. So let's give it a taste. Cheers, everybody. It's a little thinner on the mouthfeel than I would like that 9.2% beer to be, but not bad. Not getting a lot of the alcohol at all. It does have a little bit of a bitter back end on it, not quite as balanced as I would hope it to be. They've used a lot of bittering hops in brewing this beer. I don't know what the IBUs is on this beer. Let's see if I can see if it's written here anywhere. No, it is not. I do not know what the IBUs are, so I would think it would be pretty high, probably in between the 50 and 70 area there. Cocoa, toffee, caramel, and dark fruits, what I'm getting on it. It tastes. Of course, that's probably going to change a little bit. This is right out of the fridge. Just leaving a very nice lacing on the glass. Very well made beer. Just a little bit on the bitter on the back end side there. So let's let it warm up and see if it changes any. And I'll come back and we'll do the final chug and grade. And I'll share just a drink or two of this with the other half and see what she thinks. And I'll be right back. Alright guys, I'm back. Got just a little left. I really enjoyed this beer. And I looked at the bottle, and it does have a digitized code on it, and from what I'm gathering, this beer was put in the bottle on October 12th, 2013. That's what I'm making out from the code on the bottom of the bottle here. It's written in black, and you cannot see that code when the beer is in there. I cannot anyway, so let's do the final chug on this one. Wow. Very tasty. I enjoyed this quite a bit, guys. Very nice. Other than having that black digitized code on it, which you cannot read when the beer is in the bottle. It's an awesome beer. It's pretty tasty. Guys, I'm gonna give this an 8.2. This is an A- beer. If it had a white code or a yellow code on it where you could read with the beer in there, and it really doesn't have to have the date or the month. When it's a 9.2% Imperial, all we really need is the year on the label here, so we know when it was put in the bottle, what year it is. Because it's not the date and the month is not that critical on a beer this big. But being a black digitized code, it needs to be more visible when the beer is in the bottle instead of waiting till you pour it out and then see the code on the bottle. So I like it when they have it on the label there and having the notch. I don't know why they went away from that on this particular series of the beers, because everything you buy in the variety packs and things have that notch code on the label, on the side of the label there, the month and the year. So not a big fan of that, so I think they need to go back to that. Just my opinion, but at least a year. I mean, it really wouldn't hurt, because they do enough beers where they could just write 2013 right here on the top label or somewhere on the bottom label, and you would know. The month and the date is irrelevant on a beer this big, especially in this style, in the Imperial Stout. So just my opinion, guys. I'm going to give it, like I said, I'm going to give it the 8. If it had a legible date you could read with the beer in the bottle, I would probably give it the 9. But it's going to get the 8 tonight because we had to wait till the beer was poured out of the bottle to read that code on the bottom of the bottle instead of being on the label. And they do enough where they could put the year on the band on the top up here, like a lot of them do, to 2013, and they would have got the 9. So I don't think you should have to pour the beer out to find out when it was put in the bottle. You're not going to do that in the store, so if you look at it and you don't see anything on it, you're going to leave it there normally. So with that soapbox that I stand on about the dating code, just the year is good enough on this, and it doesn't need to be in a black digitized code. Put it in yellow or white or on the label so we can see what year it was put in the bottle. So that's all I'm going to say about that. Let's go see what the other guys have to say. We'll go over to Rate Beer, and Rate Beer says 95 overall, which is a very impressive number, but 48 in the style. I don't know where they're going with that, why they think it doesn't fit the style of the beer very well. I thought it fit the style fairly well, other than having a slightly bitterness on the back end. So, but very enjoyable. Sam Adams is probably the largest craft beer brewery. I don't even know if they're considered craft beer anymore. A lot of people say that they are almost to the macro brewery status with all the beers that they produce, and they have several different locations. They not only brew beers in Boston, they have one in Cincinnati, and they have several other places that they brew beer. So I just wish they would have the date on the label or something written in yellow or white as far as the year somewhere on the bottle, and didn't have to pour the beer out to see that code. So that's all I'm going to say about that. Let's go over to Beer Advocate, and Beer Advocate says 86, which is in their very good range, and it is a very good beer. I enjoyed it thoroughly. I would buy this beer again. But I know where to look on the bottle and see where the date code is, but it is so hard to see that black digitized code on a beer bottle, a brown beer bottle that has the beer in it. So unless you're holding up to the light after the beer is gone, you cannot see that code. So that's the only plus I've got to say about this. So if you've had this one, give me some comments back on this one, whether you liked it, didn't like it. I liked it, but I think we've got some improvements to make on this one. So Jim, can you hear me, Jim? Put the damn date as far as the year on a beer this big on the label instead of some digitized code. You got the pockets, deep pockets. Make it happen. Alright guys, if you've had it, give me some comments back on this one. Hit that like button, rate, comment, subscribe, and you know what I'm saying? That's right. Let's go see what's in the fridge tomorrow. See you then.